Versatile Mage. Chapter 688. Fighting the Mountain Zombie, Part 2. It was like an enormous titan had carefully stepped through the sky curtain of the mundane world, its legs dangling from the sky. Mo Fan instantly saw the astonishing legs when he raised his head. When the legs landed on the ground, the whole space shook vigorously. Cracks began to extend across the air, the sky, and the ground like a broken mirror. Slowly, the lower body of the mountain zombie was fully drawn into the silver vortex. Its body was circled with pure black lightning, further increasing the burden of the space, which had already crossed its limit. Several black holes appeared in the space out of nowhere and gradually combined into a huge storm of black holes. The storm appeared in different spots. They expanded continuously and sucked everything into the black holes. Once the space was fully occupied by the storm, it would mean the space was completely destroyed. Mo Fan glanced at the silver mirror. He had no idea whether Lu Ru and the others had reached the blood altar. The space of death had gone out of control. He had to leave the place at once. Leaving through the mirror was no longer possible. The bridge of death was most likely torn apart. The only exit was through the silver vortex that had brought disaster upon this place. If it were only Mo Fan's first demon awakening, he would not dare to enter the turbulent flow of space. The strong winds would easily tear his sturdy flesh into pieces in seconds. However, not only was his second demon awakening stronger, he had also gained control of a new power, the space element. The silver star dust was the space element. The silver vortex was the only way out. Even though the power of his space element was just a little sprout, he had to try by utilizing all his potential. Mo Fan landed heavily on the ground. His body sank down, like a muscular wolf demon accumulating its strength. Mo Fan propelled himself into the sky like a burning arrow. His speed of ascent was shocking, like a meteorite flying in the opposite direction. His surroundings were full of undead falling down from the sky. The burning arrow that Mo Fan turned into simply pierced through every obstacle and gradually approached the edge of the vortex. The silver vortex outside the city was a powerful spinning top, dragging any life form nearby into it. However, the silver vortex in the space of death was completely the opposite. Mo Fan could feel a strong force pushing him back down to the ground. The strength of the absorbing force was the same as the pressure Mo Fan was feeling. The eyes of Demon Mo Fan had already changed colors, and a deep glow shone from his silver pupils. As Mo Fan's body was covered by a layer of silver light, he sensed the pressure diminishing while he was soaring into the sky. However, the thing that would stop him was not the pressure from the silver vortex, but the mountain zombie, half of whose body had entered the space of death. There were not many undead of such an enormous size. Mo Fan knew what the creature whose body was dangling from the silver vortex was. Mo Fan quickly flew into the silver vortex, before the undead creature that was over 1,000 years old noticed his presence. The mountain zombie slowly lowered its head. To it, the silver vortex was only a rather deep pond. It could not care less about which space the silver vortex had dragged it into. The mountain zombie seemed to have run out of patience. Its body suddenly unleashed a black energy, gathering the power of lightning on its feet. The mountain zombie jumped even though its feet were dangling in the air in the space of death. The fragile sky immediately cracked as the black lightning spread across the place wildly. The energy was forced into the tiny space of death, resulting in more cracks that morphed wildly into destructive storms. Not only did the stomp speed up the destruction of the space of death, it also allowed the mountain zombie to jump out from the silver vortex. The creature pulled its lower body out of the silver vortex. It looked like the gargantuan millennia-old undead had simply stepped out of a little swamp, which did not affect it much. The people in the inner city who thought the ancient capital was saved by the heavens were dumbfounded. They initially thought the silver vortex would drag the mountain zombie away, just like the other undead. To their surprise, the mountain zombie simply shattered the silver vortex with a terrifying stomp. If they had known that the space the silver vortex was connected to was also destroyed by the stomp, it was difficult to imagine what expressions the people would have now. The mountain zombie raised its head. Its face was almost touching the clouds. The sea of clouds shrouding the sky instantly dispersed when the creature uttered an angry roar. However, the clear sky was soon covered by the foul breath coming out from the creature's throat, gradually turning into an extremely filthy cloud. The filthy cloud shrouded the sky. The mountain zombie seemed to have run out of patience. Its hate-filled eyes were glaring at the inner city's golden barrier. The creature was able to see the entirety of the city at its height. It began to approach the inner city with steps that made the ground tremble. As the mountain zombie drew closer, the people could see a huge mountain standing right in front of the city. It had a spooky face, with a huge, eerie grin, north of the inner city. It was almost dawn. The sky was faintly lit up. The place was no longer covered in total darkness. The people hiding in the inner city could already see the situation outside the city. They initially thought the faint light at dawn would bring them some comfort, yet what awaited them was not the rising sun, but the huge, spooky face of a zombie. Its face was staring down at the millions of petty lives in the city, like some life form of higher civilization inspecting the livestock it was raising. Its arrogant gaze alone brought a great sense of despair to the people. It was not a physical pressure applied to the tiny humans, but one that was able to crush their souls. Tiny, they were simply too tiny. It felt like this terrifying god of death could easily annihilate the people of the city with a single breath, even if they were all hugging together. Could the golden barrier protect them? Would the magicians that mankind was proud of really stand a chance against it? I heard that Commander Yao Ting was killed by that creature. So that thing is the ruler of the undead that is responsible for this calamity. Are we going to die? Are we still going to die here in the end? Panic swept through the crowd. Everything they had gone through was nothing compared to the encounter with the mountain zombie. The fortress protecting the humans was just a little model in front of the creature. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.